All right, let's go to the other side. Let's take a look at Real Madrid's transfer window so far. It's been 7 years since the club spent that much money on a single transfer window. Yan Diomandé's fee is the highest Los Blancos have ever paid for a player. So let's stay with the way Real Madrid, they have handled the transfer window. Shaka, that's a lot of star player. That's a loaded dressing room. Can you have too many star players in a team like it seems like Real Madrid they do now?
For most teams, I'd say yes. For Real Madrid, I'd say no. Real Madrid's foundations are built on bringing in star players and getting them to fit, making it work. And while it hasn't for the last couple of seasons, I think the spending is reflected of that. That they're determined to regain their title, at least at the top of Spanish football and in European football. I think it takes another season or two to fully gel, to fully come together for them. But if there's one club that can handle this kind of spending, handle this kind of star power within the same dressing room, it's Real Madrid. As a matter of fact, I think that was kind of the primary driver behind bringing Jose Mourinho back. You've seen a disconnect with some of those players within that dressing room. Mourinho knows that dressing room. He's been there, done it. He's been asked to come back and do it all over again.
Now, Rodri, with Diomandé, the expectation is that he will start. I mean, when you pay 125 million euros for a player, he will definitely start on that right-hand side wing. It's not coincidence that the one player in our graphic wearing a different color on his jersey is Rodrygo. With Diomandé in, is Rodrygo the odd man out?
Rodrygo goes out. That is
nice. Nicely done.
That's why I'm here. That's why I'm here.
Yes. Awesome.
It's a pity because he's a...
Can't say that in Spanish, no ahora nunca, eh?
I know it. I was waiting my chance.
You were sitting on that for a long time.
It's a pity because Rodrygo goes, he was so important for Real Madrid locker room in the recent seasons that no one really expected that from the outside, but he's, believe me, really important in that locker room. But the thing is that Real Madrid never waits for anyone. And now he's injured. We don't really know how he's going to recover. We don't really know how long will he takes to be in shape again. And when you got someone like Diomandé, we don't really know how Diomandé will adapt to Real Madrid. We don't really know how he's going to fit in this new Jose Mourinho's style. So that is why both options for Mourinho. Indeed, Diomandé is going to start because when you pay 125 plus 10 more in add-ons, he's going to play and you are forced to start with Diomandé. But the thing is that we remember what happened last season with Mastantuono. Yep. He was going to be the one to watch and suddenly 1 year after he's on loan to Fiorentina. So you have to wait, and what people inside Madrid tells you is that they have to wait, don't press him a lot. That is why he's going to share the attacking line with Vinícius and Mbappé, well-experienced players, and they need to wait. But indeed, the one who's going out is Rodrygo.
When he played, yeah, Chuck.
I was about to say, but it doesn't really bother Rodrygo. Let's be honest. It seems like for the majority of his time at Real Madrid, he's always been seen as the odd man out. As whenever Real Madrid are linked with an attacking player, Rodrygo is going to be the one that misses out. And yet still, season after season, he continues to prove his worth to this team. Whether it's coming off the bench to start with or when he's given his opportunity to start, he just continues to prove his value. Injured right now, we'll see what he's like when he comes back. But this is not new territory for Rodrygo, and I don't think it phases him that much.
I wonder how patient Jose Mourinho is going to be with Diomandé, and here's why. Number one, the fee, highest fee ever paid by Real Madrid for a player. But the expectation with Jose Mourinho is that he will start to deliver results as soon as possible. Will that be Rodrygo's best chance? That Diomandé doesn't really adapt quick to La Liga, doesn't really adapt quick to playing for Real Madrid. I mean, it's not the same to play for a high school in Florida and then play for Leganés and then go play for RB Leipzig than to play for the biggest club in the world. So Rodrygo has been there, and when his number has been called in specific occasions, he has delivered. Yeah. So will he have to be patient, as you said. He has to, he's been suffering. He has to endure a lot. What now has to be patient and maybe find that window, Shaq, where Diomandé would not be the player that Real Madrid expect him to be.
Absolutely. And again, Rodrygo has been patient for so much of his career, certainly at Barcelona. I don't think that phases him. And yes, there of course will be question marks over Yan Diomandé, simply because we've not seen him in a Real Madrid shirt, not in meaningful competition. We know who Kylian Mbappe is. We know who's going to score goals in La Liga. You can almost guarantee that again this season. You know who Vinícius is. You understand his importance to this team. You can guarantee that again this season. Diomandé, of course, is coming in as an unknown quantity, at least in a Real Madrid shirt. That's a very heavy shirt to carry, especially with that price tag. Now, and again, for me, Rodrygo has been there, seen it, waited for his opportunities and made them count. And I don't see this as being different. I don't see this. If he comes back to full fitness, exactly the player he was 12 months ago, I don't see this waiting game that he will be asked to play as being an issue for Rodrygo.
Yeah, but it does feel like this is the last season that Rodrygo would have to see either can he become a regular for Real Madrid or maybe he makes a move. Now, Vinícius is obviously a not new signing, but there was speculation surrounding his exit from Real Madrid. He extended his contract, and we see that the way the club has been trying to link Vini with Kylian Mbappé. With Mbappé, that's his heat map. Without Kylian Mbappé, it's a different thing. Now, Rodri, if this is going to work, if Vini and Mbappé are going to work together, it's been 2 years now, and it hasn't really clicked so far. Will it depend on a fresh, newly signed, re-signed Vini, or will it depend on Jose Mourinho's tactics?
I got a third option. It will depend on Kylian Mbappé. Is he going to play for Mbappe FC or he's going to play for Real Madrid FC? That is my big question mark, and I think that should be Mourinho's question mark at the same time. If I were Mourinho, I got it clear. I would sit down in the locker room with the both of them, and I would tell them, I need you both to defend. And if you don't defend at the same time, please try to turn into yourselves. And the first one, okay, you Mbappe. The next one, Vinícius, but they need some balance. That is the most important thing in Real Madrid.
Luis Enrique tried that too, and it didn't work.
Yeah, but Luis Enrique tried it with Kvaratskhelia, and it worked. With Ousmane Dembélé, and it worked. Not with Mbappe, but Mbappe, if he wants to win the Champions League, because he hasn't won any Champions League title, he needs to do something different. And he has to work harder, because if not, he's going to be lost.
Who's at fault that it hasn't worked together between Vini and Mbappe?
Oh, I'm not sure who you put the blame on there, because you kind of saw this coming. You know where Kylian Mbappe liked to play, whether for PSG, for France. You understood how much it overlapped on Vinícius and his preferred kind of channels to run into. And the big question mark from the time Kylian Mbappe signed for Real Madrid, to be asked of Carlo Ancelotti, was how do you make these two work? Given the fact that even if you play Kylian Mbappe through the middle, as that heat map demonstrated, he has this natural penchant to drift out on the left-hand side. Whereas Vinícius plays on that left-hand side and wants room to run at defenders, to go one-on-one with defenders. Carlo Ancelotti couldn't get it right. Xabi Alonso couldn't get it right. Jose Mourinho is a very big ask at this point in getting that right. Now, to Roger's point here, in asking both of these to defend, when you said you can get them to defend, and they've shown they can defend, not track the winger back to the edge of their own 18-yard box or anything of the sort, but if at least you provide some direction. I thought you saw that version of Kylian Mbappe in a France shirt this summer, not tracking the centre-back to the top of his own box, but at least putting his body there. You want to show the team down the left-hand side, for argument's sake, how he immediately impacts that from the front. Now, you get him to play those roles, at least defending in the top half of the park. I think you get the best version of Mbappe.
On this debate, I think there's something that we should keep clear. On Real Madrid, Vinícius has already won 2 Champions League titles.
Yeah.
And he was important in both of them. How many Champions League titles, or how many titles has Kylian Mbappe won with Real Madrid so far?
None so far.
Nothing. And that is...
Well, Teresa Herrera a couple of
Oh, yeah. Sorry for that. Diario Marca, amigos. But that is something to keep in mind, because if Mbappe wants to keep winning trophies like he used to do in PSG, he has to change his mind.
Yeah, to that point, though, I would say Kylian Mbappe scored 40-plus goals in his first season, right? And the reason why he's there is to score goals. Is he the one to blame for Real Madrid not winning titles the last 2 seasons? I don't know. But I am the one who believes that Jose Mourinho has what it takes to make this work. If Jose Mourinho cannot make this work, then it feels like nobody would make this work. You know what also has to do with Jose Mourinho? He has to bring peace between Federico Valverde and Tchouaméni. Remember how these two last season, they had like a fist fight in the dressing room. Now they've been playing together in the midfield of Real Madrid. Valverde, this is his 9th season at Real Madrid. He's one of the captains. He will play most of the games as captain for Real Madrid. And he still is one of the best players on this team. How crucial will it be for Real Madrid's success to find the right place, the right spot for Federico Valverde to succeed?
Absolutely vital. And I say that as a big fan of Federico Valverde. I'd have him in every single team, every single time. As a midfielder, you could make arguments for him to play at right back as he did for long spells for Real Madrid last season. I think he is that important. Not just for his work rate, the ground that he covers, but I'm not sure that there's anybody else in that team who has the threat from distance that Federico Valverde has. That's an option to have. You have to play to that. Playing for Federico Valverde, understanding his threat from distance, allows more space through the middle, through the front for the likes of Kylian Mbappe and Vinícius Jr. I think Federico Valverde is, certainly in terms of midfielders, the first name on the team sheet should be for Jose Mourinho. And then the bigger question is, who fills those gaps around him?
Is it now the thought of Jose Mourinho that his pair in the midfield is Tchouaméni and Valverde? That's what it looks so far, right?
Yes. I mean, today that is the only question. I mean, the only option that Jose Mourinho has. If by the end of this transfer market, some other midfielder arrives, I will doubt it. I'm sure that Valverde is going to start, and I'm sure that Tchouaméni is going to start. The other spots of the midfield are the one in doubt if someone comes in. But if someone, Mourinho, this is 100% sure, because he wants another midfielder, because he thinks and he understands that the team is lacking a proper midfielder in order to get the balance back as in the recent years since Toni Kroos left. But the thing is that, he doesn't really have any option left now. So Valverde is going to start and Tchouaméni is going to start. The only doubt is, are they going to talk each other?
I was going to ask you real quick. Have you talked to your sources about, is everything okay now between Valverde and Tchouaméni?
Yes, it is.
Water under the bridge?
They're not best friends, as
as long as they don't fight again inside that dressing room, should all be...
Everybody be happy. Let me ask this question, Rodri. You say Tchouaméni and Valverde starts. I'm freely assuming that Bellingham also starts.
Yeah.
So we have a front three. We have a midfield. I'm assuming they're going to play a back four, or if they're looking for another midfielder, is there a change of formation? Is that what you're saying to expect?
At the end of the day, I think it's going to be just like you said. Tchouaméni and Valverde, and then, the up front, in the link in between the attacking line and the midfielder, I think Bellingham is going to play there. And there's no more options for Mourinho.
Yeah. Camavinga is still there, but they're trying to find a way out.
Bernardo Silva?
I think Bernardo Silva is going to be the rotation player, the number 12. Okay. And Camavinga, to be honest, Mourinho is not a big fan of Camavinga, but this is a good chance for Camavinga to change Mourinho's thought. So let's see what happens.